Hi. Since I last saw you, I've had COVID. Luckily for me, I've had the vaccines. I had access to Paxlovid. In 3 days, I tested negative. My symptoms were mild. Yeah, I get fatigue on occasion. It's not that bad. This was a new idea. And I'm glad rapid tests are around and they're in everyone's home. Truthfully, these vaccines have been in the making for 20 plus years, and the technology is being transferred to cancer research and cancer prevention. mRNAs work. Nobody has to wonder, does it work or it doesn't work? It works the way it's supposed to work. The vaccines make sure that you don't become really ill. In the meantime, I was busy listening to some politicians who were talking about the 80s and wanting to return to the 1980s. And my thought is, why? Why would we want to do that? Interest rates were 16%. I remember I had a mortgage on a home. It was $250,000, that mortgage. It cost $4,000 a month to maintain. That's a hell of a lot of money. In 1987, we had the crash. And then we had continuing crashes. I remember after the crash of 2008, I looked at what my guys were expected to receive in pay so that we could be competitive with the rest of our construction industry. It looked to me like prices were going back to 1976. And I don't think today that prices for labor have kept pace with what the people, the CEOs are getting. The good thing is the kids in the Gen Z demographics, they vote and they care about issues. The burden on healthcare is enormous as I'm reading that we're inhaling so many toxins, and so many toxins are in our blood. Those forever chemicals don't really have any reason to be in our clothes, our furniture, our fire retardants. It looks like they don't work. So why are we using them? We could segue to other items that are non-toxic. There's so much we can do in industry. The fossil fuel companies alone can give back the $1 trillion in subsidies. Not give them back, but we should cut them off at this point. Why do they need subsidies? They're now charging $93 a barrel for crude. Well, we don't want to be on fossil fuels. I don't see the necessity of paying that price. Not when we have alternatives. 10 years ago, when I was at Technion, they were using canola plants for biofuels. They could grow them in the desert. Seems to me that that's a good way to go. Use canola. It uses 2/3 less water. You can grow it in the desert, and it becomes a biofuel that doesn't compete with anything else. Climate change is urgent. Tackling climate change should be one of our number one priorities. The fossil fuel industry alone has probably many, many patents on technology, new sustainable technology that they gave up in the 70s. They decided not worth it. Might as well keep pulling oil out of the ground and gas. But it's destroying our world. The world will survive, but we won't. The lithium-ion batteries that Tesla's using, guess what? They came from the fossil fuel industry who developed them. They looked at alternatives. They just decided, why bother? At that point in time, in the 50s and the 60s, alternative energy was still expensive. Well, now it's cheap, and it pays to go with sustainable energy sources, because the cost in healthcare alone and the loss of property and lives is making it so that fossil fuels just aren't effective. Nor is it effective to keep subsidizing Big Agra. Their monoclonal way of doing business is depleting all our water resources. Can we do agriculture differently? You bet. Why not try something different? Why not go back to wild plantings? It would be healthier for the United States. It would be healthier for us to export, and we would preserve our water. Thank goodness for the Gen Z generation. There's about 32 million of them, and they care about climate and tackling climate in an urgent way so that we are solutions-oriented. And we've got the solutions. People can innovate. That's what we always claim we're doing. We innovate. We're proud of the fact that we're entrepreneurs. Well, let's do it when it comes to energy. You see, I have a plaque over there from 2019 when I took a course in sustainable energy and sustainable energy markets. It's a known fact that when you work in renewable energy, it takes more people, better wages than those people who are still working in coal, oil, or gas. The benefits to labor are doubled, if not more. And that really is also what the United Auto Workers are fighting for. They're going to renewables. They're going to EVs. They've got to switch over their plants. They don't have it easy like Tesla, like Mercedes, Toyota. They're building plants from scratch just for the EV market. I think some of the fossil fuel subsidies should absolutely go to our big three automakers. For me, this is a no-brainer. Support labor, support union labor, and make it a level playing field. Unionize all automakers. Doesn't matter who they are. Because I think it's worthwhile to let the big three automakers survive. So looking back at the past, no way. Living for today and the future, that's an absolute. And I have faith in the kids because they also care about DACA, they care about voting, they care about being in control of their own bodies, they care about issues that affect all of us. They're not caught up in the political party wars. They just want to see action so that they have a better future and their children will have a better future. And very honestly, I feel the exact same way. I've got children and I've got grandchildren, and I hope one day to see great-grandchildren. And I want to know that I have left this world better for them. Because what's the point otherwise? You just don't say you're giving all the money to the folks at the top and everyone else, all the other 300 million of us, doesn't matter. We matter. And I'm glad the kids are involved and the kids will vote. One aside, in Texas, they're not so keen on anyone voting, and they've even taken polling booths out of the campuses. Mind you, some of these campuses have 40,000 kids attending. That makes it really hard for kids to vote. So the object is, let's get rid of voter suppression. Let's get an informed populace. And now that we've got some kids who are up there, and I understand it's about a 32 million cohort, I'm with them because they've got good values and they like civility too. So God bless our children and our children's children. That's what we're creating a world for, not for the few corporate CEOs at the top. And I'll talk about antitrust at another time. Take care, everyone, and have a lovely day.